Good evening. I'm Dinah Davenport. And on tonight's episode of Almost Famous-ish, we'll be discussing government paranoia, congressional hearings, fake vocals, national panic, and a girl group that was so untalented that some Americans genuinely believed that they were sent in to distract the country from war. And that group, À'la Séduction. Wow, that's a stupid name. Thank you and enjoy.
Warning, the following program is entirely fictional. The artists are fake. The documentaries are fake. The scandals are fake. The reunion tours are fake. The emotional damage, however, feels very real. If you find yourself angrily Googling À'la Séduction at 2 a.m. wondering why you never heard of them before, please remember that this is a mockumentary series and not an actual VH1 special from 1997. And you may, in fact, need to consider that this is between you and the Lord. Thank you for your cooperation.
So, America's newest pop sensation?
Yes, we're like totally new.
Yeah, new and nervous!
Come on, girls. We outside tonight. Come on, girls. We outside tonight.
Welcome to American Bandstand.
Yeah, we're so excited. This is amazing.
Glad you're having fun.
By the early 1990s, À'la Séduction had become one of the most controversial groups in America. At the height of their fame, their songs dominated radio, their posters covered shopping malls, their choreography was copied by teenage girls nationwide, and their single Girls Run the Night became one of the biggest crossover dance hits of 1990. But unlike most pop groups of the era, À'la Séduction inspired something stranger than obsession. They inspired distrust. At one point, the group became so controversial that protesters gathered outside venues accusing them of being industry propaganda, fake performers, corporate mind control, and according to one conspiracy hotline in Nevada, a distraction operation designed to pacify the public during wartime. It sounds ridiculous now, but at the time, America was genuinely losing its mind, and it was all because of them. To understand why À'la Séduction caused so much panic, you first have to understand the state of the music industry during the late 1980s. And the industry was in trouble. Major record labels were facing mounting public backlash after multiple discrimination lawsuits accused executives of systematically exploiting artists while controlling what audiences saw, heard, and consumed. In 1988, former Black performers filed a class action lawsuit against Crown Meridian Records, alleging racial discrimination in promotion and marketing. According to court documents, Black artists were routinely denied crossover opportunities, while white acts performing identical styles received larger budgets and wider radio distribution. One singer testified they wanted Black music without Black faces, and that ain't right. At nearly the same time, several female performers publicly accused labels of coercive contracts, image manipulation, exploitative control tactics, sexual misconduct, and retaliatory blacklisting. Talk shows became flooded with former artists describing executives controlling hairstyles, forced cosmetic procedures, fake relationships created for publicity, and careers destroyed for refusing to play the game. Public trust in entertainment began collapsing. Then came congressional pressure. In 1989, televised hearings discussing exploitation in the music industry sparked national debate around media manipulation and corporate influence over popular culture. One senator famously stated, "The American entertainment industry is no longer selling music. It is manufacturing identity. Behind closed doors, record labels reportedly panicked. Executives feared lawsuits, federal scrutiny, declining public trust, and growing accusations that the industry was racist, sexist, and culturally out of touch. According to several former insiders, the record label, Nova Sound Records, believed they needed a solution immediately, not a talented group, a symbolic one that would get the public scrutiny off of their backs. Soon, internal memos, allegedly describing the company's new plan as creating the perfect American girl group, began to circle the company, a group that had one girl for everyone, and that is when the creation of À'la Séduction entered the picture. The group consisted of Monique Johnson, a black department store makeup employee from Detroit, Isabella Alvarez, a struggling Latina cocktail waitress from Miami, and Heather Lancaster, an aspiring white actress from suburban Ohio. None of them had professional singing experience. None of them had formal dance training, and according to multiple former producers, that was intentional. One anonymous executive later admitted when they claimed, "We didn't want artists, we wanted compliance." The women were selected largely because they were attractive, financially desperate, inexperienced, and unlikely to challenge the label's deliberate control. Real singers, according to insiders, would have immediately recognized the fraud because behind the scenes, À'la Séduction was never actually singing. Most of the group's vocals were secretly performed by anonymous session singers, older gospel vocalists, and heavily layered studio recordings. Meanwhile, the women themselves were trained to smile, pose, perform simplified choreography, and repeat carefully scripted interview responses. By 1990, the label unveiled À'la Séduction as a bold symbol of modern diversity and female empowerment, and the timing worked perfectly.
Girls run the night, everything feel right. Dance floor, jumping wall to wall tonight. Girls run the night, head flying in the lights. Everybody vibing to the beat tonight.
Their debut single, Girls Run the Night, exploded almost immediately. The song dominated skating rinks, dance clubs, radio countdowns, mall speakers, and teen television. Ironically, the song became a national anthem about fun, being free, and female independence, while the women performing it reportedly had almost no control over their own careers. Still, they continued to be wildly successful. Their singles charted high, and they were in great demand. But also, at the same time, to the public, something about the group felt strange to audiences. The group came off as weird and borderline suspicious to many who watched them. Even fans noticed the women moved oddly during performances. Their interviews sounded stiff, rehearsed, or just downright odd. Their smiles lingered too long. Their harmonies never quite matched the records. And whenever they spoke, they acted like they'd just learned to speak. One entertainment journalist sarcastically described them as À'la Séduction scum, seemed like three women pretending to understand human interaction. Rumors began spreading almost immediately. At first, audiences simply accused the group of being culturally fake. Critics questioned their sudden overnight success, their carefully calculated image, and how a completely unknown trio had seemingly appeared everywhere all at once. Some radio personalities openly accused Nova Sound Records of manufacturing the group purely to distract from the growing scandals surrounding the music industry itself. One columnist wrote, "À'la Séduction doesn't feel discovered, they feel assigned." But as America entered the Gulf War period, public paranoia intensified dramatically. Talk radio exploded with conspiracy theories involving media manipulation, propaganda, psychological distraction campaigns, and corporate influence over public attention. Eventually, À'la Séduction became tangled inside those fears. One late-night radio host claimed, while American families are watching bombs overseas, these women are dancing in robotic synchronized formation, telling young girls to run the night. They move like aliens, and we already know how the government likes to keep that reality away from us. Ask yourself why. Theories spiraled completely out of control. Some Americans believed the group had been manufactured by government consultants, that their music contained subliminal messaging, or they existed to distract younger audiences from war coverage and economic anxiety. Church groups condemned them, editorials attacked them, and after the release of their second hit single, Electric Body, some of the more extreme conspiracy theories were that they were electronically programmed performers sent in by foreign government officials to spy on America. One tabloid cover famously asked, "Are À'la Séduction even real?" Despite the chaos, the group continued rising until late 1990. That was the year Milli Vanilli collapsed publicly after their infamous lip sync scandal exposed the group's fake vocals to the world. Almost overnight, public tolerance for manufactured performers disappeared. Suddenly, audiences began re-examining the group, and this time, the anger became personal. Former fans accused the group of fraud, manipulation, cultural deception, and selling fake empowerment. Nova Sound Records panicked. Desperate to save the group's reputation, executives arranged a nationally televised live performance intended to prove the girls could really sing and were great performers, and it became one of the most disastrous performances in pop television history.
For weeks, you've heard the rumors, you've read the headlines, and tonight, these young women are here to answer their critics the only way they know how, live on stage.
The hottest groups in America is here live. Please welcome the sensational ladies of À'la Séduction.
At first, it started surprisingly good, way better than anyone would have ever thought. It was evident that they had been practicing and determined to prove their detractors wrong. But then this happened and all hell broke loose. Witnesses later described missed choreography, offbeat dancing, visible panic, forgotten lyrics, and Heather accidentally entering a harmony several seconds late while Monique stared directly into the camera, looking horrified. One reviewer wrote, "It sounded like three strangers losing a custody battle over the same karaoke machine." On top of that, the group was accused of doing subliminal signaling to the enemies and giving support to increase the war when the group did a subtle marching move in their choreography. And that's when it became dangerous. The backlash was immediate. Radio stations stopped playing their music. Protesters gathered outside appearances. Conspiracy theorists declared the performance proof of a larger deception inside the entertainment industry. Even little girls who were fans of the group and wore their memorabilia were harassed by adults for their fandom. The group had to go into immediate hiding because it was dangerous for them and anyone who was a fan of theirs, as well as anyone who had any dealings with them. Any show that booked them or interviewed them was threatened. Their record label received death threats if they didn't drop the group, and all their sponsors were boycotted until they cut their contracts. Within months, À'la Séduction disappeared completely. All their albums, memorabilia, posters, anything that had their names and faces on it was completely destroyed as if they never existed. As threats intensified, Nova Sound Records quietly arranged legal identity protections and relocation agreements for the women after several stalking incidents and violent threats from conspiracy groups. And because it wasn't safe for them to go back to their hometowns or really anywhere, they had to go into witness protection programs. And that's where they'd stay for 10 years, giving them and the public time to forget about them. Years later, Monique would briefly address the scandal during a local radio interview. "We weren't evil," she said quietly. "We were just broke. And maybe a little awkward, and maybe not as talented as we should have been," she giggled. Following the collapse of À'la Séduction, all three women disappeared almost entirely from public life. For years, rumors circulated online claiming they had fled the country, secretly changed identities, joined religious groups, or were still being monitored by entertainment executives. In reality, their lives became surprisingly ordinary. Monique Johnson eventually settled in Arizona, where she reportedly worked for nearly 15 years, managing a cosmetics counter inside a department store. Isabella Alvarez later took dance lessons and finally learned the craft before opening a small dance fitness studio in Tampa, where she specialized in Latin cardio classes, low-impact aerobics, and what she once described as emotionally safe movement. Meanwhile, Heather Lancaster briefly attempted acting before eventually marrying a regional furniture businessman in Ohio. According to former neighbors, she refused to listen to pop music for almost a decade. Nova Sound Records never fully recovered from the scandal. By 1994, the label had lost multiple artists, faced mounting lawsuits, and become permanently associated with accusations of manipulation and fraud. The company quietly dissolved several years later. Ironically, as internet culture grew during the 2000s, younger audiences slowly began rediscovering À'la Séduction online. What was once viewed as sinister gradually became nostalgic. Bootleg VHS clips of the group's awkward performances spread online, eventually turning them into something completely unexpected: cult icons. In 2016, the three women reunited publicly for the first time in over 20 years during a small documentary panel discussing media hysteria and exploitation in the entertainment industry. The atmosphere was noticeably awkward. At one point, Heather reportedly asked if the audience still believed they were government experiments. Someone in the crowd yelled, "Low-key, yes." According to attendees, none of the women laughed. During the reunion interview, Monique finally reflected on the panic surrounding the group. "We weren't masterminds. We were just three broke women with no talent, wearing shoulder pads."
À'la Séduction. Wow, that name really sucks. Imagine destroying national trust over women who could not hit a single note on key. Truly dark times it was. And I don't believe we've seen anything like it since. We'll now leave you with the song that accidentally caused public hysteria. Good night, and thank you for watching.
1, 2.